Hello there, this is Big Benedict. We're playing DMC Devil May Cry Definitive Edition, and this is my guide for Dante Must Die Hardcore difficulty. Now, you'll see a list of difficulties here for Devil May Cry. You have to defeat Nephilim and Son of Sparta to play Dante Must Die, and even then, if you saw the one below, which was called Gods Must Die, you have to then defeat this difficulty. And I think you have to defeat Heaven and Hell to unlock Hell and Hell, which all that unlocking bullshit is so disgusting that it just makes me just nauseated and sick to my stomach. Because take a game like The Last of Us, when that game came out, which it wasn't called Definitive Edition, but it was a remastered edition and it was definitive in its own right. But you didn't have to defeat Survivor to play Grounded right off the bat. And it just makes me hate these console games a lot, because on the PC there's a lot more flexibility. Like a couple of weeks ago I was going to play Alan Wake, and I didn't want to go through like the lower difficulties, and all I had to do was just type in a line of code to unlock Nightmare difficulty. But I'm not going to be covering that game because it's boring as hell. But this game here, I'm really a fan of this game. Obviously it's the weakest of the franchise, but the way I think of it is, if those games didn't exist, then if all you had was this game here, it would be a remarkable and much more lauded game. But still, it's a fantastic game and it's fun. So I'm never going to be disparaging this game, because I love this game. But a couple of things, it's just I can't get out of my mind. Like, there's so many changes. There's like a 25-page changelog for this entire definitive edition, which is not definitive. There's nothing definitive about it. There's a lot of things they took out. For instance, the orb harvester, it's not in this game unless you pre-ordered some. You got it pre-ordered somewhere, and it's, if you're making a definitive edition, have every single thing in the game. What else is not in the game? Just, some of the dialogue, and there's other things too, but there's just an overwhelming amount of stuff to talk about here. So you might be wondering, why are you doing a guide for this game again? It's because, I did do a guide for this game last year, I think around this time of the year too, and I said to myself, I'd like to play this game again, but on a slightly harder difficulty. So what they allow you to do, once you beat the campaign an initial time, is you can select the hardcore version of every difficulty mode. So I said to myself, I don't want to play through this difficulty mode just to unlock Gods Must Die, which I was interested in doing, because I like the restrictions of that, not using items. But enemies still double trigger in this mode, which is its distinctive feature. And I gotta say, it's pretty hard. And I'm also... Okay, so what I have on, I don't have Must Style, meaning that there's checkboxes in the beginning of the menu. Must Style difficulty, or not difficulty, but the little modifier is that you can't damage the enemies until you get the highest rank, which is... I just don't... That doesn't appeal to me. And I have Turbo Mode on. And I have hardcore mode on, so I have those modifiers on. I have all the items, although I did not find one of the souls. What they've done is they simplified the key system, so instead of a lot of metals, like the argent and copper and bronze keys, it's all just one key. But all the challenges are the same. But it's kind of weird. I kind of like it and I don't. But the biggest thing before I get into talking about hardcore mode, and I'm sorry I'm speaking over these, but I have to talk about, what this is all about. The biggest offender is the camera is so fucking slow. It's like you're hand holding a child, walking a child on the street that can't keep up with you. That's what it feels like to me. There's no sensitivity settings for the camera. You'd think that they would put in that before it was absent, and it's still absent. That's my only complaint, because everything else works well except the Angel Evade by default is L2 plus L1. Try doing that with your controller and see if you can get that to work without using different fingers. It doesn't even barely work. It's so uncomfortable and awkward. But I don't even use that anyway. So, I mean, it's got a reset camera, so it's really nice. That's the only saving grace, in my opinion. So what is hardcore mode? I will talk about the main distinctive features about it right now, and I'm quoting right from the changelog that was on Capcom's website. So the style rank system is rebalanced for hardcore mode. The style rank decay rate on hardcore is increased further, meaning that you don't have as long of a grace window to get the style meter to get built up. And then it says, I don't understand this sentence too well, but it says, on hardcore mode, penalties on the style rank gain for repeating the same move multiple times is significantly increased. Okay, now I read that. It was kind of a weird sentence, but you're penalized more heavily for repeating moves, which they don't want you to do to build style. So that's the style rank category. The next category is called balance. So what they've done, there's 4 bullet points here. And what they say is, bullet point 1, no auto parry from prop/shredder. Second bullet point, only the first strike in only the first strike in an attack can perform a parry. So I assume that's an enemy attack. And then plus 5% damage for all enemies. So that's a little vague. If anyone has any way to elucidate on what that is, plus 5 damage for all enemies. I guess they get a little bit more HP. It doesn't seem like that sentence makes it sound like you get damaged more. But anyway, the next bullet point and final one is, Dream Runners can parry the Arbiter Flush projectile 3 times on Dante Must Die. Okay, so that's that category, and then the final category is Double Trigger. Then there's just 2 items regarding this. This is a hard fucking fight, by the way, too. So the Double Trigger does not launch enemies. So I'm gonna show that over here, what that is. And I never liked the fact that it launched enemies anyway, so I don't really care too much about that, because it was always a hassle to have to latch on to them and deal damage. So it's actually a time saver, in my opinion. So you'll see when I activate Double Trigger over here, I'm just showing you what it does. It's not going to launch the enemies the way it does on the other difficulties. And then Double Trigger is earned. This is the last bullet point. Double Trigger is earned and spent faster. That's kind of a positive and negative. So you earn it faster, and yet it's spent faster. Huh, that's good. If you don't use it too often, that's good. So I like to use the projectile for this, the witch. The witches are pretty problematic, and you also might know that this game runs now at 60 frames a second, which I honestly, it doesn't look that impressive to me. I do like the oversaturated nature and the color scheme and the aesthetic nature of what they've done. But to me, I've just been playing on PC games for so long that, just like for the past 8 months, that, you know, it looks fine and there's no issues, but I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed by the visuals or by the frame rate. But I don't get any slowdown or anything like that, so I'm not mad or anything, but you also have a manual lock-on. And I've also, if anyone also has this problem, whenever I press L3 plus R3 to do the Double Trigger, it like 1 out of 5 times it'll work. So I've had to rebind it and put it on down on the D-pad to actually do the Double Trigger and make it fucking work. These guys are really problematic too. Once you kill one, and the other guy will start doing his Blanca spin across the screen at you. So if you're having trouble, you might want to take off turbo mode. That's one of the problems I had on DMC3, I remember. So when I took that off, I was having fewer issues. But I'll probably keep it on for this game. Okay, so doing the Double Trigger again. There's no checkpoint here. I'm going to try my very, very best, you guys, to not use items. And I'm going to be editing every cutscene out everywhere so that I don't get into any trouble. There's the hunter. So when you come in here, see they've rearranged like the souls locations, and also the keys and different things. Some of the keys that were really difficult to find, or not find, but you could see them, but they were placed at really high locations that you would have to like launch enemies and then do the enemy step off them. I've noticed some of those got changed. So it seems like a lot of the inconsiderate things that it seemed like they did at first, it seems like they cleaned it up a little bit. But there's just an overabundance of these cutscenes, and I didn't even watch them to begin with. Not on this campaign. I watched them the first time I played this game. However, it took me about 4 days, like 2 days, for each difficulty to finally unlock this mode. And I just think it's appalling. I understand that you need a couple of playthroughs to accrue everything, but I don't know. I just think that having to unlock so many times is just why people don't have that much damn time. But anyway, I don't know. It's not even that. It's that why would I want to play that many times? It does get boring. But anyway, this hunter, you can hit all these poles for damage and red orbs if you want to. So what we're gonna do on the hunter is at this point I had to rebind the devil trigger so that it's now down on a D-pad. But you just want to keep hitting him in the face. You can parry his knife attack in the air and on the ground. So when he falls down, just keep hitting him in the face, and you can hit him with the arbiter. And we're going to save our devil trigger up and start wailing on him a little bit later into the fight. So you might also see some rapid edits over here. Like that right there was him doing this. So he does the blade, throw the blade at him, use the devil trigger, arbiter, and just keep smashing him. And he's pretty fast. I mean, if you keep going in the air and then you land, he's likely to just do a top knife slash. So you've got to watch out for that. He also does a charge across the screen, which is hard to evade. He's got that downward stab with the knife. He doesn't take away too much damage, but the damage you deal is pretty insignificant. I was kind of surprised about that. This took me about half an hour to take this son of a bitch down. I don't remember him being this hard either. But I really like the bosses on this game because they're neutered and they're basic, and I like that because I hate boss battles. I really hate boss battles. So just keep shooting him here with the ebony and ivory, he'll fall down, and I've edited all that stuff out. But we're just about to take this guy down, and of course he always gives you a problem when he's got like 1% health. So I want to welcome everybody into the guide. Just stay tuned for more videos. I don't know how consistent they'll be, but I will finish this. Take care.